Good morning. This morning I'm going to do a little video on how I cook my pork on the smoker. So we're in my backyard here and I'll show you how it's done. I recommend smoking on a beautiful day. Nobody wants to be out tending a smoker in the rain, but also if you smoke charcoal like I do, having a nice day to sit outside and watch your smoker is very enjoyable. So I try to pick a day that I can be outside and just enjoy the day. This is my smoker deck where I do all my smoking. It's not real impressive, not real pretty, but it's beside the point. It's all about flavor. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start out with some charcoal. Now I do use some briquettes, but I also use cowboy lump charcoal. The lump charcoal is where you really get your flavor from the smoker itself. I use the briquettes just to help keep the even heat. They do a really good job of holding it. And I have my vents on my smoker pretty much down to a science, so I know exactly where to set the vents on both sides to get the temperature that I'm after. You know, there's a lot of smokers on the market. Some people like the pellets, the electric, the gas. I'm kind of a purist, so I do have the charcoal version. It's messy, it's dirty, it takes a little extra time, a little extra attention. But in my opinion, it's the best flavor, and I also enjoy the process of tending it. So here we go. Alright, I start with some regular charcoal briquettes. And I load those up. Those are going to be my base. These are, let's see what we got here. These are the Kingsford Mesquites. We get a little extra flavor. So that's just going to be the base in the bottom of the smoker, and then we're going to put the cowboy charcoal on top of that. Alright, you can light your briquettes, and once you get those lit, you really want to wait a long time and let them get good and burning. You can always add your cowboy lump on top of that, but the base briquette, you really want to make sure they're burning good. So I let them sit here for a good amount of time, and while these are getting ready to go in the smoker, I go inside and I prep. Alright, it's time to take a look at what I use to do my smoking. As you can see here, I've got 2 boneless pork shoulder roast, butt roast. I guess you don't know which is which. The most important thing that you could possibly have here besides the meat itself is the apple cider. The way that I do it, it is absolutely crucial to use the apple cider, and you'll see why in a little bit. I find that it works out the best for me. Yellow mustard is kind of a secret trick. The barbecue sauce, the smoky, that's just a new one that I'm going to try. I'll do one barbecue and one not barbecue. And then Famous Dave's rib rub. Personally, I find that that works the best. That's my favorite, but you can use your own choice of both barbecue and rib rub. And I also got a pound of bacon here. Why do I have a pound of bacon? Because if I'm going to run the smoker, then I'm going to smoke some bacon for tomorrow morning while I'm at it. All right, let's get started. All right, here we are. We are all set up for the critical step. What is the critical step? You must have a flavor injector. Now, can you cook pork and make it turn out good without it? Yes, you can. But I'm telling you, do this. You won't be disappointed. You need to put your apple cider in a bowl or a cup or something, and you're going to suck up the apple cider, and then you're going to poke it in, and you're going to inject as much apple cider. You want these like a balloon. You want this thing puffed up. You want apple cider dripping out. For this reason, don't put any salt, pepper, seasoning, mustard, or anything on yet. First get your flavor injected. That way when it squirts out, it doesn't run all over and you lose all your seasoning. So use your flavor injector, apple cider, pump those babies up. Once you get them pumped up, rinse your flavor injector right away, otherwise it gets sticky with the apple cider and you can't take the thing apart. So the next step is going to be a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. On top, flip both sides. I use a bacon sheet just so that I don't get apple cider and everything everywhere. So a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Okay, we got the salt and pepper on. You can see all of this fat here. Don't trim that off. That's really important for flavor. You do want to smoke with that on top so that as it renders, it kind of drizzles down over. So leave that there and plan to put that on the top in the smoker. Got my salt and pepper on. Now comes the mustard stage. Get your mustard out and apply liberally. Okay, so we're just going to put a lot of mustard on, and I mean like a lot. Now, the mustard does 2 things. Yes, it adds flavor, and the biggest thing is it makes your rib rub or whatever seasoning you're using stick. Okay, so once you get your mustard on, you literally want to do this. Get that mustard all over. Remember, your rib rub is going to stick to where this mustard is. So you want to get that all good. Obviously you get really messy doing this. And yes, it's pork. You want to be rinsing and washing your hands. I always keep a towel nearby, which I kind of just write off as going to be a mess by the end of this and wash it. So yeah, you're just constantly cleaning up as you go. Alright, time to put on our seasoning. I am using the Famous Dave's Rib Rub. I use it on everything. That's me. I literally do. For me, there is nothing else. This is it right here. It's like $3 to $4. I got 2 of them. And this kind of stuff you just have it on. You put it on chicken, you put it on ribs, steak, whatever. I mean, for me, you can try different seasonings. I don't. I use this. So what you're going to do is just kind of, you're making your bark here. Now people say, oh my God, don't use too much. Well, you know what? This is a lot of your flavor that's getting smoked into the meat. So for the people that don't want the extra flavor, they just don't eat the bark. They don't eat the outside. But for those who do want the extra flavor, it doesn't even matter whether you eat that amount or not. This is where the flavor's getting like kind of smoked in. So this has to happen like this. Don't worry about what your wife says. Just put on as much as you can. Make sure you have enough. So I kind of do that. And then, you know, you got your stuff in there. I kind of pat this just lightly, just to kind of stick it on there. You really don't want it coming off on your fingers. You want it to stay on the meat. And now you got your nice little bark going there. So that's kind of what it should look like. You're not going to do barbecue sauce or anything like that till later. Now I'm going to flip these over and do the other side. But right here, that's how it's going to go on the smoker to begin with. Okay, looks like our charcoal is good and hot. So we're going to take that and dump it in here. This is the pan that goes in the bottom of the smoker. If you don't know much about smoking, you want to lift this up real fast and get it over there. Okay, we got the charcoal in there now. You want to put your lump. Now this, it's Cowboy Lump. I don't know what brand it is. Hardwood lump charcoal is what you want. And this stuff, like this is where you get your flavor. This stuff's kind of small, but you really want to get a lot of this stuff in there. And that's where you get your flavor from. Alright, once you get your lump charcoal in there, you close the bottom. And now you're going to start seeing smoke. So you open your vents a little bit. In the beginning, I start with vents open more because you really want to get that smoke coming out. And you want to keep the fire going. As time progresses, you can close those down. Let's see what we got. Yeah, baby. Alright, time to put these beautiful pork butts on the smoker. Alright, how am I going to cook bacon on a smoker? I have no idea. I've never done it before. We've got a meatloaf pan upside down. I draped the bacon over it. I'm going to try that. Alright, we got a good little charcoal fire going down there. Not an actual flame, of course. Just smoldering and smoking. Here's pork number 1, pork number 2, and our bacon. Things are looking good. I do have a thermometer that's running into the top one, and that's how I'll check it. Basically, you want to hold 225 for many hours. There's all sorts of math and pounds and this and that, but honestly, just smoke it all day at 225. This is all going to be pulled apart and put in a crock pot for our party tomorrow anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. I just kind of go with the feel. Here we go. Alright. Just under 100 right now. And we'll come back and check it in a little bit. Alright, time to make the baste. Chose this pan. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I like a pan that is small enough to sit on top of my smoker. The top just stays warm enough to keep the baste pliable. And then I got a little cover that goes on top of here so the bugs don't get in there. You don't want to come to baste your pork and find out that you got local bugs in there. You do want to use your apple cider. If you got apple cider left over in the bowl, use that first, of course. I got brown sugar, my rib rub, and some honey. That's how I make a base. Here it goes. And that's about it. put all the ingredients in, warm it up a little bit, keep stirring so you don't burn the honey. I just reduce this a little bit and then I go put it on top of the smoker. Okay, it seems as though my little thermometer here is not working. When I turn it on, it is kind of freaking out. I think this thing got left out here all winter, so it's probably shot. I'll go buy another one. I mean, I know pretty good how long it needs to be in here. I mean, hours and hours. And even once you've reached your temp, you don't want to take it out. You want it to stay in here and just keep on cooking and doing its thing. So I'll go grab another one of these just so I can get the temperature on the video. But basically, once you got your temp up around the 225 range, you just hold it there all day and you're fine. So we're just coming up on 200 now, and that's about all you need. Now I got the base sitting up here. So I just leave this here so it can kind of warm and reduce. You know, it reduces a little bit up here, and I keep stirring it. Got this little setup with my basting brush so that doesn't melt. And then about every 2 hours I come and check on it, and I'll throw a coat of baste on it. One very important thing to remember, when you open this top, you're losing all your temperature, you're losing your smoke. It takes a long time to build that back up again. So a common thing that people who smoke will be saying is, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. So keep that in mind. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to know. Knowing doesn't change the outcome. Just let it sit there and have faith. Let it do its thing. 225 and leave it alone. Alright. These have come out of the smoker. I did not get video of that process, but you just take them out. They sat in the refrigerator all night just to kind of cool down. Now a trick here that I do is I put them back in something like this, and I pour some of the apple cider in the bottom, and they're going to go back in the oven today. This just helps keep them moist. This apple cider is kind of going to bubble. You get a little bit of sugar and sweetness and moisture that gets back into the pork. So I do this with foil over the top and just warm them up before they get peeled apart. Alright, we got the pork out of the oven. It's been in there at 225, and now we're starting to shred it, and it's going in the crock pot. And that's it. Got all the meat and some ribs in a crock pot. Poured a little bit of the apple cider sauce on top. Got it on low. A little bit of choice barbecue sauces. And we'll see how everyone likes it.